Hello, and welcome back to Slow Podcast English. I'm your host, Jessica, and with me today is my good friend, Liam. Today, we're talking about one of my favorite things, travel. It's a great way to learn and grow. Hey, Liam, it's so good to have you back.
Hey, Jess. I'm happy to be here. I'm always ready to talk about travel. It's something I really enjoy.
Me too. It's always fun to get away from our daily routines. So let's start with a big question. What's your favorite type of vacation? Do you like to relax on the beach or go sightseeing in a big city?
That's a tough one. I think I'm a bit of both. A few years ago, I went to Paris. I loved exploring the city. I spent all day walking around and visiting museums. But last year, I went to the beach. It was so nice to just put my feet up and do nothing.
I understand that. Sometimes you just need to take a break. I really love visiting new cities. I enjoy trying to get a feel for the local culture. When you visit a new city, what's the first thing you like to check out?
I always try to find a good cafe. I love sitting there and just watching people go by. It's a great way to get a sense of the city's atmosphere. After that, I usually try to take a tour or something to get my bearings.
That's a good idea. I usually look up famous landmarks. I make a list of places to see. Like the Eiffel Tower in Paris. It's always so exciting to finally see them in person.
What about preparing for a trip? Do you pack a lot of clothes or are you a light packer?
Oh, I'm definitely a light packer. I try to bring just the essentials. It's so much easier to get around that way. I'll usually make a list of things I need a week before I go on a trip. What about you? Do you plan everything out in advance?
I used to, but now I prefer to be a bit more spontaneous. I'll book the flight and the hotel, but after that I just play it by ear. I like to see what happens and discover things I hadn't planned for. It's a lot more fun.
I can see that. It probably helps you to find some hidden gems. Things not in the guidebooks. What's one of the most interesting things you've ever discovered on a trip?
I was in Italy. I was just wandering around a small town. I came across a tiny family-run restaurant. It didn't look like much, but the food was incredible. The owner was so friendly. We were able to have a nice chat. It was a great experience that I'll never forget.
That sounds amazing. It shows that the best memories aren't always from the big tourist spots. Sometimes it's those small, unexpected moments that make a trip special. What's the longest trip you've ever been on?
I took a whole month to travel around South America. It was a really long journey, but it was so worth it. I got to experience so many different cultures. I saw some amazing places. It taught me a lot about myself and the world. I learned to be more flexible and to go with the flow.
What would you say is the biggest challenge when you're traveling? For me, it's probably the language barrier. I always try to learn a few key phrases before I go, but sometimes it's still difficult to get my message across.
I agree. The language barrier can be tough. But I've found that people are usually very patient and helpful. You just have to make an effort. Another challenge can be getting sick. I always try to be careful about what I eat and drink when I'm in a new place.
That's very smart. You don't want to have to cut your vacation short because of that. So, what's a tip you would give to someone who is just starting to travel on their own?
I would say, don't be afraid to try new things. Talk to strangers. Step out of your comfort zone. Be open to different experiences. It's the best way to grow as a person. You'll make the most of your trip.
I completely agree. Traveling isn't just about seeing places. It's about learning and having new experiences. Thanks for sharing your travel stories with me, Liam. It was a great chat.
Jess, I want to ask you a question. What's one place you've always wanted to go to?
Ooh, I've always dreamed of going to Japan. I really want to check out Tokyo. The culture seems so different and so interesting. I want to try all the food. What about you? Is there a place you haven't been to that's on your list?
I'd love to take a trip to Iceland. I've seen so many photos of the nature there. The mountains, the waterfalls, the northern lights, it all looks so beautiful. I think I would just go for a hike every day.
Wow, that sounds incredible. So, when you travel, do you like to take a lot of photos, or do you prefer to just enjoy the moment?
I try to do both. I take some photos to remember the trip, but I also try to put my phone away. I want to really take it all in. Sometimes I just sit down and watch the world.
That's a good balance. I think sometimes we are too busy taking pictures, we forget to just be in the moment. Do you ever keep a journal when you travel?
I do sometimes. I'll write down my thoughts at the end of the day. It helps me to remember everything, and it's fun to look back at it later.
I should try that. It sounds like a great way to hold on to those memories. What's the one thing you always bring back from your trips? A souvenir?
Not really a souvenir. I always buy something to eat. Maybe a local snack or a type of tea. It's a nice way to remember the flavors of the place. It's a small piece of the trip that I can bring home with me.
That's a lovely idea. It's like a memory you can taste. What's your advice for someone who wants to travel but doesn't have a lot of money?
I would say, don't worry about taking a big, expensive trip. You can start small. Travel closer to home. You can take a weekend trip to a nearby city or even just a day trip. You don't have to go far away to have an adventure. Just look around you.
That's great advice. Adventure can be found anywhere. It's all about your mindset. You can get a taste of travel without spending a fortune.
Exactly. And you can always save up for a bigger trip later. The most important thing is to just start exploring. It really helps you to open your mind and see things in a new way.
Let's talk about a specific trip. What's the funniest thing that has ever happened to you while you were traveling?
Oh, that's a good one. I was in a small village in Spain. I was trying to ask for directions. I tried to speak a little bit of Spanish, but I think I said the wrong thing. The old woman I was talking to started laughing. She was very nice, though. She finally understood what I was trying to say. It was a little embarrassing, but now it's a funny story.
That sounds so classic. I think those moments are the best. They break the ice, and you get to connect with people in a real way. What's the most beautiful place you have ever seen with your own eyes?
I would have to say the Grand Canyon in the United States. Photos really don't do it justice. When you stand there and look at it, it's just so huge and so colorful, it takes your breath away. I could have just sat there for hours.
I believe it. I've seen pictures, but I can only imagine what it's like in person. So, what about food? Do you try to find traditional food when you travel, or do you stick to things you know?
Oh, I always try the local food. It's part of the experience. I try to be adventurous. I'll look up the most famous dishes in an area and make sure to try them. I've had some things that I didn't like, but I've also found some of my favorite foods that way.
That's a great attitude. You have to be willing to take a risk. So, what's one last piece of advice you would give to someone? It could be about anything.
I would say, don't wait. If you have a chance to travel, take it. Don't say, I'll do it later. You might not get the chance again. It's important to live in the moment. Traveling helps you do that.
That's perfect advice. It's so easy to put off our dreams, but life is short, so it's a good idea to go for it. Well, thanks for sharing all of your great insights with me, Liam. This was a wonderful chat.
My pleasure, Jess. I had a lot of fun.
And thank you to all our listeners for tuning in. We'll be back next week to talk about something else. Take care, everyone.